Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a book review on The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont. The Christie Affair by Nina de Gramont tells the story of the 11-day disappearance of mystery writer Agatha Christie, told through the eyes of her husband's mistress, Nan O'Day. Nan is a young woman with secrets, a woman who has had to endure the Great War, a pandemic, and forcibly separated from the man she loved. The Christie Affair questions what drives someone to commit murder, and what someone will do in the name of love, and what is the one crime that can never be forgiven. So let's get this out of the way first. I most certainly had my concerns initially heading into this book, because just a few years ago, was it even a few years ago, or was it sometime last year? I'm trying to remember now. There was another book fairly similar to this in topic, also about the 11-day real life disappearance of writer Agatha Christie. It was written by Marie Benedict, and it was called The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. And I really loved that book. So initially, as I said, heading into this book, I was kind of thinking, Marie Benedict already did this? Why are we getting another book so soon after that other book, you know? I think at the start of this book, things are kind of running fairly similarly. But it does take its own unique twists and turns to make it totally different from Marie Benedict's book, which is a good thing. Because once some of the twists and turns get going in this book, and once it kind of reaches a certain point in this book where you kind of literally have this aha moment, that's when this book and the narrative, I think it really starts to grip you and grab you, and you start to see what this book is trying to focus on and what it's trying to say. Because Marie Benedict's book was trying to do something else. You know, it had its own message and themes that it was trying to explore. And yet this one is kind of doing the same thing as well. Yes, both books do share a few little similarities there, and there is like some particular themes that are kind of still explored. But yeah, both books do their own thing within this narrative of the real-life disappearance of Agatha Christie. So if you are concerned about that, if you're thinking the same thing I was, why should I pick up The Christie Affair? I just read The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict. Why should I read this? You know, I think you will be pleasantly surprised with the differences found in this book. I definitely think this book, there is a bit of a slower pace to it initially at the start, because it does take a little while for this book to kind of, like I said, reach the aha moment where it finally kind of clicks for you, the reader, like what exactly is going on, you know? So I think what the major difference is between this book and The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict, I think the major difference is who the focus of this book is on, technically. I think some people went into this book thinking there was going to be a lot of Agatha Christie in it, and that she would probably be the primary narrator, or at least another narrator within there. That is not the case. Agatha Christie is a character in this book, but she is definitely more of the secondary supporting character, weirdly enough, considering this is all about her 11-day disappearance, you know? Whereas The Mystery of Mrs. Christie by Marie Benedict, that is done with dual narratives, and it's split between Agatha Christie and her husband, Archie Christie. So they are your primary narrators, and it's very, very 50-50. There's a very nice 50-50 divide there. So with this book, your narrator and who you are primarily focused on is Nan O'Day, who is the mistress of Agatha Christie's husband in this, Archie Christie. And yeah, what's important to note about Nan O'Day, she is actually a fictionalized version of his real-life mistress. His real-life mistress was named Nancy Bill, if I'm remembering my notes correctly. So that's very, very important to note, because there are definitely just some wild and crazy things. Let me put it that way. Some massive, I think, historic liberties, perhaps, kind of taken in this book, considering that she is a fictionalized version of his mistress. So yeah, know that. That's incredibly important, that you know she is a fictional mistress. And running with that same thing, what's also important to note, Nina de Gramont, in her author acknowledgments, she refers to this book as being what she would call imaginative history, if you will, however you want to kind of take that. Kind of how I took it, like I was kind of suggesting, with her taking liberties and really kind of just rolling with whatever she wanted to do, you know, really fictionalizing a lot of things, because the whole premise of this book, since it is around the real-life disappearance of Agatha Christie, the thing is, Agatha Christie, until the day she died, she never, ever spoke about what happened in those 11 days. She claimed amnesia or something like that, and she never spoke about it. So I think that's always been one of history's greatest mysteries, like, what the hell actually happened? And so, since no one knows what happened, I mean, as Nina de Gramont says, you know, this is an imaginative history retelling. You gotta just kind of throw whatever you want out there, pretty much, and you gotta roll with it, and just know that it's all fictionalized, you know, because yeah, some of this stuff probably didn't really happen, you know, we don't know. And I really loved this book, especially once it did get going, because like I said, there is a bit of a slower pace to it at the start, but once this book really gets going, I really felt like I had a turnaround, just a complete turnaround with this book, like how I was feeling about it and my appreciation for it. I loved just the narrative, the story. I liked that Nan O'Day was the character narrating this book, because once I got over the fact that Agatha Christie was just a supporting character, I really started to fall in love with Nan as a character and her voice and the things that were going on in her life. And yeah, this book is full of a lot of mystery, suspense. You get flashbacks with Nan, kind of explaining how Nan becomes the woman that she becomes, and why she's doing some of the things that she's doing as certain plots get revealed. Yeah, then obviously there's the disappearance of Agatha Christie, and then there's the suspicion on her husband Archie, and yeah, Nan, you know, Archie has to push Nan to the side because it doesn't look good on him that he has a mistress, because maybe he murdered his wife, for all everybody knows. Yeah, there's even a subplot in here, you guys. There's a murder that happens at a hotel that's nearby. So you've got all of that going on as well. And then on top of that as well, there's a few random romantic subplots. Now, me saying all of this, you got Agatha Christie's disappearance, you got a murder at a hotel, you got Nan's story and her flashbacks, and then you also got some various different romantic subplots. You may be thinking, dear God, there's a lot going on in this book, and you are correct in saying that. There's a lot going on in this book, and at times it does almost seem overwhelming, because you're sitting and thinking, okay, what is the point of all of this? You know, a lot of this just seems so random. But believe me, in kind of typical Agatha Christie fashion, I feel like, I think Nina de Gramont does a wonderful job of kind of mimicking Agatha Christie's writing within this narrative, and all of these random threads and all these random people and all the random subplots and whatnot, it all really cleverly, ingeniously kind of comes together, in my opinion, to make a thoroughly entertaining, engaging, thrilling story. So yeah, if you're reading this book and you're just kind of confused initially and you're thinking, okay, what's this? Who's this? Trust me, it all comes together at some point. You just really got to pay attention. That's the thing. I think if you're, as long as you're paying attention to certain things, I think when some of the big reveals and twists come, you'll kind of be like, okay. And it won't be so far-fetched and wild to you. And I think the big message of of this story, and I think what Nina de Gramont is trying to explore, kind of through all the various different things going on in this narrative, I think more than anything, she's trying to explore this whole idea of the treatment of women during this time period, during the early 1900s. Because you have Agatha Christie, her husband Archie thinks that she's overly emotional, and he kind of blames her disappearance on her being over emotional, and that she's depressed and this and that, you know. And then, yeah, Nan, once you get a lot of reveals about Nan's, her story and all these flashbacks and whatnot, and how she's kind of treated as a young woman, yeah, you start to see that the story is about the treatment of women during this time period, and more than anything, the treatment of women who were considered unruly during this time period. The women who didn't follow the social norms, the women who kind of did their own thing. Yeah, during this time period, that was not a good thing. Women were supposed to kind of follow what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to be wives and mothers, and yeah, if they go outside that box, they're called sluts or whores or whatever, you know. Or yeah, they're sent off away to asylums or convents or whatever, you know. So yeah, this book, once you get all these things rolling and going and connecting, you start to see that big main kind of theme going on in this book about women and how they're treated and whatnot. And yeah, that makes the mystery, the big overall mystery and whatnot going on in this, it makes it a lot more enjoyable and entertaining at the end of the day. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend this book if you like all things with Agatha Christie. Just know that Agatha Christie is definitely a supporting character in this book, okay? Let it be known. She is definitely more of a supporting character. If you're looking for a book with more of Agatha Christie in it and having her voice, then you definitely need to go check out Marie Benedict's book, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, because that will probably be more up your alley and whatnot. But yeah, as far as this book goes, yeah, if you like historical fiction during this time period, if you like Agatha Christie, if you like some entertaining, engaging murder mysteries and whatnot, I think you'll highly like this. So you guys, that is it for this video. In the comments below, have any of you guys read this book? Do you plan on reading it? If you did read it, did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.